guys, so today we are talking about a long-awaited topic, where we used to live.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to start off with any big points about the great place we used to live?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why we didn't move back in, and it didn't really have anything to do with the apartment. The apartment was nice.
Yeah.
But it was the whole atmosphere of it and the actual, building and company that ran it, and some of their staff members that wasn't very useful or helpful at all.
Also too, what Matt means by move back in, so we only had a year-long lease there, depending on, just to give us more flexibility on like, oh, do we want to stay here? What if, we change our mind, want to go somewhere else? So our lease there was only for a year. So we could have extended it and stayed there, or we could have, just said the lease is over, let's go somewhere else. So that's what Matt meant by let's not move back in, or let's stay here. Whatever, if I'm being clear. I mean, like Matt said, it was a beautiful apartment. It was great. It had no issues, like when you were in the physical apartment. But as soon as you step foot out of our, area into the building, the common areas, the parking lots, just the different amenities they had, like it was just, the neighbors were really inconsiderate. Like there's trash everywhere. Like the smallest noise we would have the neighbors banging on their ceiling below us to tell us to be quiet, or there was someone across the hallway who was always having parties, blasting music, and I think it was like a family. It wasn't like people our age. It was like parents and kids having like different parties for different scenarios. And
all the time.
Oh yeah, and they would leave their front door open so people could just like wander into their party, and you'd hear the music like all around the building.
Yeah.
And one thing that bothered me is the people that worked there and owned the community weren't very good at informing people of things going on, especially with COVID-19 being so big. They weren't very good at informing people about their new hours, like what to do when you're moving in or out, if you have any questions. Like they kind of just said, oh, we're closing the leasing office, and just like figure it out. Like they just were never good at communicating really any issue or type of, we had no idea how to move out of the place until the day before. Like they didn't leave us a checklist, they didn't send us an email knowing that our lease was over, they didn't send us anything. So we literally were like, do we leave the keys in the apartment? Do we give it to them? Like their office is closed, like should we leave all the doors open like in the apartment? It just was like a lot of not knowing when we were living there.
The only times that they would contact us about our lease ending would be calling me directly and trying to almost bribe me to re-up my lease with them by like, hey, we'll give you this 200 something gift card to this place or something if you renew a lease with us. We'll give you a little bit off your rent if you want to release with us. But overall, it was not, like I told Catherine after I told her what happened, I said you'd have to give us like half off of our rent and then free parking with a reserved spot, because
that was not worth it
not
at all.
The parking was very interesting. You could pay for reserved spots, and then there would be people with reserved spots that don't even park in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've watched multiple people park in their reserved spot and then move their car to an unreserved spot for no reason whatsoever. It's not like they were waiting for a family member to come so they could park in there so they have a definitive spot. It would be, hey, you know what, I don't really want to park in my reserved spot, I'm just going to park over here, which would make everybody else have one less spot, and then we'd be parking on the opposite side of where we lived, which
like,
was
what, half a mile away?
Yeah.
Quarter mile away?
So we'd have to walk all the way across, and it didn't really bother me, the walk, because like after work I'd walk back, but going to work I'd have to walk a half mile at
What?
around 5
Yeah, 5 a.m., 4:45.
in the dark when I'm tired and I just want to get in the car and go instead. But
Well, also, too, they had a parking pass machine in front of the leasing office that anyone could access. Like, you don't have to, scan your key fob. You don't have to, really, like, someone could just wander off the street and use their parking pass. And I noticed a lot of people would go get a parking pass for a couple hours, park in our community, and then there'd be a bus stop right outside. So people would, like, take the bus and do their thing. Or we had a different apartment complex across the street from us, and people would come and park in our community too. So like, there would be nights I'd go visit Matt at work late at night, and I come home and I'm walking around at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm trying to find, a spot, and I could be looking around for a spot for 2 hours and I may not even find one. I would have to just go find someone's reserved spot that I know they never park in, and hopefully, they don't keep Matt at work longer the next morning and he can just move it for me. Like, the parking situation was awful. And the fact that, they have this online kind of group chat on their website for all the residents that live there. People in the middle of the night will smash into people's cars to the point where they move it and damage multiple cars, and they don't leave a note, they don't, leave their information on the door or like put it under the car. There's so many break-ins around there in the car area, which reminds me, when we first moved in, when someone came in the apartment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when Matt and I first kind of moved in, obviously Matt had work every day for almost 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It was around 10 in the morning, maybe 10, 11. And I was at home and I was just sitting in our bedroom. I was watching TV or sorting laundry, something like that. And I hear someone putting the code in our front door and coming in. And I'm texting Matt, I'm like, are you home? Someone's at the door. And he says, no, I'm at work. And I check his location. He was at work. He wasn't messing with me. And it wouldn't have been any of your friends messing with me because no one knew the codes. Mm-hmm. So I hear the door open and I'm so scared, I'm completely alone, Matt's at work. It's not I could call a friend that lives down the street to come check on me. And I don't hear anything. I'm sitting in there for 5 more minutes and I'm like, okay, Catherine, get something heavy. We're gonna go check and see what's going on. I walk in there. The front door was open. Whoever came in, they didn't close the door behind them. All of our kitchen cabinets were open. We had an empty Sprite can box that was in the refrigerator. That was on the other side of the room. A loaf of our bread was on the opposite corner of the room. And then just, it was just weird. I checked through all the important paperwork that Matt and I had, things, people could take our identity with. Nothing was missing, nothing expensive was missing, just stuff was misplaced and cabinets were open. And that just worried me because no one really knew that code at the time other than Matt and I to get in the apartment. The only other way someone could get in is if they worked there. How could just a random person have gotten in?
Mm-hmm.
And all the people that would have maybe tried to sneak in and prank us were all on base working at the same time. So there wouldn't have been a friend doing that to mess with us. And we asked all of our friends and they're like, no, That wasn't us. So it just wasn't very secure, I'd like to say. You know, I would see a lot of parents letting their kids running around in the street and riding their bikes in the street, and it's just like, I don't know if there's a common theme of just, you know, not being safe. I don't know, but also, I just remembered the one time they answered our service. No, it wasn't a service request. It was
They just came in to check something.
So sometimes they'll leave notices on everyone's door to say, hey, like, we're coming in to check on, you know, we're gonna spray for bugs, check if there's any bugs in your apartment, like, or people will just come around and do just different checks at different times. They would leave a slip, but they would never be specific. They wouldn't say, hey, like, we're coming in on this day at this time. They would say, hey, it's like one of these 2 days in this time window, right? So I'm in the shower and I hear the door open. Now, I'm home alone at this point too. I think I hear the door open, so I shut the shower off, and I didn't have, like, you know, actually, no, I didn't even hear someone come in. That's a lie, scratch that. I didn't hear anyone come in. So I get out of the shower, you know, I'm in my towel, I'm walking back to our room, and I hear a man opening the door saying, like, hello, I'm here to do, like, the bug inspection. And I was like, I ran back in the bathroom, was like, please come another time, like, I'm not dressed, can you leave? And he's like, oh, okay. Like, you'd think if someone knocked hard enough, I probably would have heard that from the shower. Like, it seemed as though he somehow unlocked the door and came in and I didn't even hear him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, like, they went about just everything about managing where we lived in such a weird way. Like, being in another place, they completely manage it differently. Like, we are a lot more well aware. We both get the emails. At Arbor Park, only Matt got the emails and calls. Like, it's just, you know, you're not nervous to walk around your car at night around here. You're not, like, you hear a lot less often if someone breaks into cars because all of the cars are in a parking garage that you can only access with a button that you get when you live here. It's just, you know, it's like, it's kind of bittersweet moving out of there because that was like our first home together.
Yeah.
But, and there's like so many memories in there, you know, like just moving in, you know, just everything. Like, we got Frank there, that was kind of our place to ourselves. Obviously we have a roommate now, but like that was like our private, like, safe area. But then also, when you walk out of that private, safe area, it's like awful. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And also, not to mention, like, the entire building always smelled disgusting. Disgusting. Like, it was the combination of, like, the guy on the bottom floor smoking to, like, the families making really weird foods in the building, or I don't know, maybe like people just don't take out their trash. Like, it was disgusting, the smell in the building. And you could literally be coming up our stairs, you smell disgusting how the building is, and then walk through our front door and it's a completely different smell. Like, it's clearly not, like, I don't know, just a point I wanted to cover. But sorry, we have notes so we can kind of cover everything and we're not just all over the place. Also, I just saw this part. So originally our rent was a lot less than how it was towards the end, and it's not for any reason. We didn't upgrade anything, nothing. So we would go online because we were curious. We would see the same exact apartment, same size. It was rugged instead of hardwood floor, like the exact same apartment, and it was significantly cheaper being advertised online, but we were being charged more. Like, I really think all of those apartments, no matter where you were in that community, they were completely overpriced for what they were. And it's just definitely, you know, a lot less to worry about not living there anymore.
Yeah.
I've kind of been on a rant, so would you like to add anything?
I feel like since it was our first apartment, renting a first apartment, and they kind of knew that they gave me, when I went and did the whole thing with them, with me and my parents, they gave me a number. They said this is going to be your lease amount and it's not going to change. Everything's already included in it. And then a month later, when we got our first bill online, it was almost $300
Extra.
extra. And
No more, right? Maybe 4.
maybe, I don't know.
A significant amount more.
Yeah, but they played it off when we first got there. Everyone was super helpful. Everyone was super into it. They were like, "Hey, yeah, we can do this for you." They were super accommodating, and all of that. And then suddenly, when I signed the lease and I was in their grasp almost, that they stopped. Like whenever our sink disposal would break, we put in a service request form.
No one ever showed up.
No one ever showed up, no one ever called, no one ever emailed, no one ever left a note, nothing. They just didn't show up, didn't try, even attempt to be like, hey, sorry, we didn't make it out there, we'll come back. But, so I'm pretty sure they just put on a facade, like, hey, we're gonna be super helpful, we're gonna be super, we're here for you. And then suddenly, when we had our signature on writing and in their computer, that they said, hey, like, you're on your own pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's broken, we'll come help when we find time.
Yeah.
So.
Also, too, this almost kind of scared me in a way. Is when you first saw it, it looked like a great community. Like they must have taken Matt in for a tour like at a certain time of the day when like maybe it's at its slowest and everyone's at work. But he couldn't find anything bad about it online. Like the place looked great. Obviously, as he was saying, the staff seemed like they were gonna always be there to help. And then the longer you live there, you start seeing through everything you saw when you first, toured it. It's not at all what it was. And what's weird is that type of thing normally happens when you see the pictures online and then you show up and the place isn't great. But he actually showed up and the place looked great, and it took time for us to be like, this is, like, bad.
Yeah.
It was just, and you know what else I heard? Apparently, the owner or the manager that managed the community we lived in, apparently he went around and, like, harassed people, like, for having certain things on their deck or having their dogs on the deck without a leash on, even though they're in a fenced-in, patio.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, we heard he was kind of harassing one of Matt's friends who lived there, too, about him taking things that was, like, technology stuff, like the smart home stuff that was in there. Like, they made it really hard, I guess, for him to move out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, ours wasn't that hard. I mean, we haven't heard much from them, and our lease only ended, a few days ago.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of, like, messed up and almost, like, creepy how it was one thing when we were looking at it when we just moved in there to then slowly seeing through, like, the fake image that they made the place look like.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, it just, like, I would be, during the day, I'd be taking in groceries. You would see people, like, doing drugs around the building. Like, I'm not saying, like, the gateway ones, the minor ones. I mean, like, they're sending it on the side of our building, like, giving people weird looks. Like, there are sometimes some, like, interesting people walking around. Like, I remember there was this one man, you were at CQ that night, just running around with his jeans shirtless, hands in the air, just like, woo! Like in circles, like no one was chasing him. Like, really, really, really weird. Like, I did not feel okay walking around that community by myself at night at all.
No.
Like, But I'm really glad we're out of there. You know, to now kind of talk about where we are here, our car is, what, a 2-minute walk down the hallway and in the garage. You don't even have to walk around outside. The only people that have access to that is the residents that live in this building. The people in the leasing office, they're not even closed. They're taking a lot of extra precautions, you know, so this virus isn't spread in the community. But they answer your questions. They answer the phone. The emails get responded to. They send us a lot of, you know, community newsletters. Just the people I've seen around are a whole lot more nice. Like the first week or two that I moved in, just going to get a package in the clubhouse, that's what's like the leasing office, gym, pool. People were like helping me. I'd be like, hey, like I'm new, I don't really know how this works. Oh yeah, like I'll show you. People are kind of just good at keeping to like their own thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like staying out of everyone's like business and kind of just like living their own lives here, which I kind of like. And it's a lot quieter here, I've noticed. Lot quieter here. Like there's always stuff going on where we used to live. There was always trucks outside. The fire department and the police were there every other week for some random reasons. Like it was just like loud all the time, just of stuff going on outside, you know, the neighbors blasting music, having parties. The people downstairs would be blasting their music at like 7 a.m. on like a Saturday. And he can sleep through anything, but I can't. So I'll wake up and I'm like, are you joking right now? It's a Saturday. Like people clearly aren't working. You'd think they'd want to sleep in after the week. And they're black, like I could hear every word of their music from upstairs. But I could really, really go on and on and on and on about that community. But I don't want to bore any of you guys with my ranting.
I think one of the reasons we wanted to make this video was because obviously I'm in the military. She's like almost a brand new to this whole military life thing. It's been a year, but still a lot to like figure out and learn. But we know there's going to be other people that do what we did, get married, move down, maybe far away from their home and their families and all that, and they're not going to be able to have like what I had. My family came down to help me with getting the lease and figuring everything out, and maybe to inform people that looks aren't always what you get. Like what we had, Arbor Park looks great.
That was what it was called.
But
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, the looks aren't. Everything isn't as it seems.
yeah. Sorry, the camera stopped recording.
Yeah, I guess like the lesson we're kind of trying to like show you guys is whether you're moving into a house, an apartment, a condo, whatever it is, do your homework on the place first. You know, look for reviews, look at, you know, comments, ask around. If you're touring it, like stay alert and look for those red flags, because we missed a lot of red flags when we first started looking at the place. And, you know, we had no idea what we were in for. So, because, say, like in my situation, I was home alone a lot, and Matt was at work. And I had no idea that the community was like that, and being home alone, you know, away from my family, so we only have each other to rely on here. So, just being able to feel safe in your own home is so important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like Matt said, the point of this video is kind of not even just for people in the military, but like, or like, you know, spouses, but just anyone that is planning on living on their own or with roommates or with, you know, their boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. Like, do your homework before you can, like, consider multiple places, have your options, because, you know, you pick one thing and it falls through, you have no other option.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's about it. Stay tuned because we have a very special anniversary video being posted in the next, what, day or two. So I guess we'll see you guys soon. You're not gonna wave. You're just like, are you okay? Should we leave this in at the end?
No.
Bye.